First of all, I see a weed. Here's a lamb's quarter right here. This one I'll just go down and I'll wiggle back and forth. The root came right out perfect. And let's see if there's any more weeds in here. I don't see any. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, so this plant right here, this has some really tall stems. This is an oregano. Remember in the last pot we didn't prune our oregano. This one has some tall stems. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has some that are getting really tall. And see the baby ones right there and right there, right there, right there. They're there, they're ready to grow, but the auxin in this terminal bud is keeping these ones from growing. That's what an auxin does. So I'm going to come down and I'm just going to prune that one off. And that one, I'm just going to take some of the taller ones. And if you need to prune your plants, prune them, even if you're not ready to eat your crops, because once you're ready for a recipe for the fresh herb, if they're not growing beautiful because you haven't pruned them, then they won't be ready for your recipe, even though you're ready for it. So always prune your herbs. The other thing is you can dry your herbs. Just put them in the kitchen, on the kitchen counter, spread out. They will dehydrate and dry just fine there in the open air. So I'm just removing a few of these until the plant looks about right. I'm kind of picking up on it to see if there's any more really tall ones, and there aren't. So that's just right. So, and I have a handful of beautiful oregano that I can take into the kitchen. Turn this pot just a little bit. Okay, we have another sweet marjoram plant. I love marjoram. It's very good with poultry, very good with meat dishes, very good with potato type dishes. And you can see the little, it's about to bloom here. The one I already cut over there had bigger blooms, but these are about to bloom. You always want to cut your plants about the time they're blooming. Even if you're not ready to eat, you can dry what you've harvested. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to say halfway's there, so I'm going to go up a little bit more. Take off about 1/4. And look here, there's a weed in there. That's a baby elm tree that's growing. And here's another baby elm tree. Those guys can get 75 feet tall. We don't need that in our pot. And here's a piece of grass that's blooming, going to seed. And here's another lamb's quarters. I got all kinds of weeds in here that we're hiding. Okay, that's good. There's the marjoram. It's pruned and ready to go. And the chives are looking pretty good. I have 2 kinds of chives in here. Okay, this is an onion chive, and onion chives have a round leaf. They're round like a pipe. And then I have garlic chives right here. And garlic chives, the leaf is flat. It's flat like a piece of tape. And so I have the garlic chives here, and they're just babies, but they're getting going, and they will grow and get a lot bigger than that. But they're doing good. So I have the onion chives and the garlic chives. Garlic chives are great for garlic flavor. Onions are great for the onion flavor. Okay, that pot is perfectly pruned and ready to go. So I have one more to show you here. Now these leaves on this basil plant are very small, and they don't get much bigger than this. And there's 3 or 4 varieties of these basil that stay pretty. The leaves stay very small. See, here's my pinky finger, and those leaves are just very small, very little. And this particular one is called Spicy Globe Basil. This is a Greek basil, and they stay little. I'm getting the weeds out right now. Anywhere I see a weed, I pull it out. If it's a large weed, it looks like it'll have a big root system, and it may destroy the root system of an herb that's growing, then I would want to cut it off. But these are pretty small with an insignificant root system. They're not going to pull up a lot of dirt. Now this basil right here, some of the leaves have dried up. I think that was some neglect. I just got these plants. Somebody else has been taking care of them, and I wasn't able to watch over them. But these plants, there's another weed. These 3 are doing better, and this one is starting to bloom. And what's the rule when an herb starts to bloom? You want to cut it back. And so this one, we could take the whole bush here and we could do the 1/3 rule and cut the top off. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to take out these ones that are blooming. I could do that and it would be just fine, but I just want to do it a little bit different. Every one of these buds, or terminal buds on here, is putting out a flower structure. Looks like. The reason I want to do this is simply to show you a different technique. You can come in here and you can just snip the tops out, just like that. See how it's starting to look thinner? It's making room for more light so the other ones can grow, and it's removing that terminal bud. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so that one's basically done. Here's a big obvious one right there. Okay, now we just cut off a couple more to kind of shape the plant so it doesn't look like a tornado hit it. And look at this beautiful handful of wonderful basil. Oh, it smells so good. Wish I had some ripe tomatoes to go with it. Okay, so that one, that's how I did that one. Now this one, let's try it where we just pull the whole thing together and we cut off the very tops, and we'll compare and see how they look. I don't want to cut too much. Okay, another beautiful handful. It was a lot quicker to do it that way, and I actually think it looks nicer. It's a little bit smaller than that one, and it looks a little bit nicer. So I almost always do it this technique where I cut off the whole top. I did that one to show you that you can snip the tops. I always feel like it looks better and turns out nicer when we just snip that top 1/4 of the plant off. Sometimes you can take 1/3